Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on the news briefing this Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. The start of the new year is always a great time to reflect, set new goals, and think about the changes that we want to make in our lives. Many of us tend to set New Year's resolutions, but sometimes sticking to them can be a challenge. Today, we have Kelley Molton, Deputy Director of Monterey County Behavioral Health, to talk to us about New Year's resolutions and provide us with some practical ways to keep them. Thank you for being here, Kelley.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we talk about New Year's resolutions now that we're here in 2026. Unbelievable, actually, how quickly the year went by. So hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, we see your screen.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So welcome to 2026. With New Year's comes the opportunity for us to hit the reset button and to really think about what kind of year we want to have to come. We also have to acknowledge that sometimes coming out of the holidays can be sort of exhausting. There's a lot that goes into the holidays. There's a lot of happiness and family time, but there can also be sadness and stress that comes with the holidays. So some realities is sometimes the holidays are hard. The days are shorter, the weather is a bit colder, and sometimes our moods sort of shift with the weather. And then the New Year's comes, and sometimes it takes a little bit to get us motivated to want to make different changes for ourselves. And so if you're feeling a little unmotivated right now in the new year, that's okay. A lot of times, we find that folks have, they kind of categorize their New Year's resolutions into like the health, wealth, and happiness sort of sections. When you think about health, you think about eating habits, you think about exercising, you think about, making choices to stay away from a lot of sugar or, alcohol. Folks stop, smoking, that kind of stuff. And then there's smaller things like drinking more water, getting a little bit more sleep. And then, focusing on your emotional and mental health as well. And then we have wealth, like sort of the resources. In today's economy, a lot of us are making a lot of choices about how do we spend the money that we have and how do we ensure that our needs are met. And so, some of us need to make decisions about saving more money for either specific endeavors or for our future overall. Things that we can do at monitoring spending habits, avoiding spending money on short-term wants, but then also taking a look at, how we're spending our time as far as employment. Many of our families locally have to have more than one job to make ends meet, particularly to live here in our beautiful Central Coast. And then looking at expenses, looking at how we're spending our money and what we are choosing to invest in. And then of course happiness. And this is typically where a lot of us spend a lot of our time, hopefully, in setting personal goals. What do we want to be talking about next year this time? What do we want to have accomplished as people? And making changes that enhance our happiness, enhance our what we expect of ourselves and what we want for our futures. And or making a concerted effort to put energy into things that have already served us already. Things such as returning to school or spending time with aging parents or family, taking time off work if that's an option for you, and or creating space for you to be quiet, whether that's to read a book, take a walk, or just have a quiet cup of coffee where you can reflect. A lot of times in our very busy lives, we are inundated by information all of the time, and sometimes that's just exhausting. So finding a quiet time or an opportunity to hit the pause button so we can recalibrate and have some introspection time is really helpful. Because really what we're looking for is balance. We want to live balanced lives and create some space and time for us to relax and to kind of identify how do we want to spend our time? How do we want to show up in the world? And what do we need as people, individuals, that's really good, that we would feel proud about. And then, of course, focusing on what brings you joy and peace, whether that's your friends or your family, or again, some quiet time. So here's some tips for success. When you think about how you like to, think about your own resolutions, if that's something that you choose to do, My encouragement is to, make those resolutions reasonable and doable, realistic within your own, space. Start small. We know that, changes behavioral wise take a minute to get into. Creating new habits is about consistency and about time. So if we start small, oftentimes we're more successful. Um, and again, lasting change takes time. And so a part of that is also finding ways to create accountability partners and, folks that maybe have the same or similar goals that you do that you can partner up with. So, there's an opportunity for some accountability and encouragement, especially if you're experiencing some, lower motivation, or, maybe your goal is to get out and, walk the dogs every morning, and you're like, oh, but I don't really want to. It's cold outside or it's wet outside and I'm tired. And so it's like, okay, ready, like you've done it, 5 days this week and this is the sixth day, like ready, set, go. And we all need some cheerleaders in our lives to help us stay motivated when maybe we're not so motivated ourselves. And then also be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. In today's world, all of us have an awful lot coming at us. If you're parents, your children that you're looking after, you're trying to take care of and provide great environment for them. For many of us, you have older parents that you're taking care of and you're watching for. And so today's world is just it's very taxing. And so being kind to ourselves, especially if we don't quite get where we want to go, just know that you can continue to put in some effort and you're still going to get some good resolve out of that. And then, of course, the reality that just because you have one little slip up or one, misstep doesn't mean all of your goals are gone. It means that tomorrow's another day and you can start again. And then, of course, reach out if you need support. And, one of the messages that I want folks to hear is that behavioral health is here to support. And I will share just a real quick resource for everybody. This is one of our flyers that we give to folks, especially those who come in contact with our mobile crisis team. These are all of our access clinics, as well as our community crisis line. Of course, 988 is available for all. And our clinics are open and ready to support. So with that, I hope everybody has a fantastic new year and is thinking about all the great ways that they can make forward steps in their life, even if those are very small little steps.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing these really great tips.
Of course.
You did talk about setbacks a little bit, and so I'm wondering if there's anything you can share when it comes to setbacks. A lot of the times people tend to slip up. They miss a day of a workout, or if their goal was to read, they missed a day. So, what is some advice that you have when there are slip ups? And is there, ways to bounce back?
Absolutely. And I think the big thing is we all slip up. None of us are perfect. And the thing is, if you've whenever we put effort into something, we're going to have, challenges and we're going to have successes. And to know that a slip up is just another opportunity for us to try again. And each day, brings an opportunity for us to show up again and show up again and congratulate ourselves when we have some wins, but also to be gentle with ourselves when it's like, oh man, that was not a good day. Because we all have days that, we end up at the end of the day and we're like, man, I did not get what I wanted accomplished, or like, geez, I really didn't show up the way I wanted to. And the reality is that's because we're all human and we're doing the best we can. And a part of, what we do with behavioral health is, you know, we're all showing up for each other as much as we can. And it's okay if you have a day that maybe doesn't quite meet your expectations. And yeah, to human to be fouled in some way is human. And we're all in the game of life. So keep on going and to know that tomorrow is another day.
Thank you. I think that's really important, sort of switching your mindset to be a little bit more positive, being like, you know what, tomorrow's a new day. I can do it again.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people tend to set multiple goals and it can become a little bit overwhelming. Do you have any advice for balancing multiple
Yeah.
goals, or if how maybe prioritizing certain goals?
And that's exactly it, is that I really encourage folks to be realistic about their goal setting and to think about, identifying one thing, because you can always build, the year is 12 months, so you don't have to do all of the changing in January, right? So identify where you want to start. What's the most important? Do you have a health goal? Do you have a particular family goal? Is there something that's really important to you right now? And start there, but also start small. Because what we know about motivation and human behavior is we know that the more we succeed, the more effort we're going to put into it. So if you start, like, let's say, your goal is, I want to drink more water. I want to be more hydrated so I feel better. So start with having one more glass of water a day, and then you can build up, because all of us are not going to drink a gallon of water a day from jump, right? We have to start somewhere. And so when we start small and we experience those successes, then we're like, we can do it. Okay, the next week I'm going to try 2. The next week I'm going to try 3, so that we can ingrain those habits, because habits are really hard, especially healthy habits that maybe we're not really so into. It seems like bad habits are far easier to get into than healthy habits. And so start small, prioritize what's important to you and your health, and then start to experience those successes, and then you can build from that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. And I know we're all going to take away something from this and put it towards our New Year resolutions. Thank you again for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a wonderful new year.
Now, along with setting goals and building healthy habits, having the right support and resources can also make a really big difference. And our libraries offer a variety of tools and resources that can help us reach our New Year's resolutions. Today, we're joined by Berenice Astengo, Managing Librarian with Monterey County Free Libraries, to share how our library programs, services, and resources can support personal growth, learning, and goals in the new year. Thank you so much for being here, Berenice. And you are muted.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me know I was muted. To follow up with what Kelley said, the wonderful thing about New Year's is that it feels like a new beginning or a reset button, and the library is a great place to start on your journey. And one of the first things that you think about with libraries is books. And so books, of course, are a great starting place if you want to eat healthier or meditate or exercise more or start a garden or a new business. We have books available for you that can help you get started on your journey, inspire you, give you some inspiration of ideas that you might want to go on. And if you think to yourself, I don't really have time to read, the library also has an extensive collection of audiobooks, downloadable audiobooks and ebooks from both Libby and the Palace Project Marketplace. And you can download audiobooks onto your mobile device, either a tablet or a phone, and listen while you drive, or listen while you're walking on the treadmill, or listen while you're taking your dogs for a walk. There's great ways to access more information through books, and you don't necessarily have to sit down and read the books. I often listen to audiobooks while I walk on the treadmill. And if you don't want to be so attached to your phone or your tablet, we also have downloadable MP3 players called Playaways, and they also have an audiobook preloaded onto it. So again, you can read while you walk or read while you drive to work. And so there's lots of different ways that you can get information and read. If one of your goals for the new year is to connect with other people, we also have kits called Book Club to Go kits. So you can start a reading group or a discussion group with some of your friends or your colleagues, and you can check out one of our Book Club to Go bags, and it comes with 10 books and a list of questions to inspire some rigorous discussion of the book that you read together. And like I said, if you don't have time to read it, you can look to see if we have it on Libby or Palace and download the book also. If one of your goals for the New Year's is to get outdoors more, the library has the fabulous outdoor adventure kits. And I actually meant to share my screen. I'm sorry, I forgot. So that I could show where to find some of these items on our library page. Can I share my screen? Is it sharing?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we also have these fabulous outdoor adventure kits. We got a grant last year and we got another grant this year, so we will be expanding our collection. And as you can see from this page, you can find it by going to Books and More and scrolling down to the Library of Things, and that's where the outdoor adventure kits live. And we have badminton kits, bird watching, bocce, cornhole, croquet, all kinds of different soccer balls, all kinds of different kits that you can check out from your library to have an outdoor adventure with your family. If you want to start a new hobby, like the list shows, we also have things like bird watching kits and stargazing kits and a telescope. And they have information about local birds in the bird watching kits or the night skies in the stargazing kits. So you can check those kits out from your library and see some really fun and start some new hobbies or projects. I mentioned before our book club to go kit, and here you can see it on our webpage. That's also under the Books and More category from our homepage. And we have a really big selection of titles to choose from. I'm not sure if my screen changed. Hopefully it did, along with me. And so here are all the books that you can choose from to read with your friends as a way of connecting with people in the new year. In addition to that, if you have a focus on mental health, we also have mental health kits. And these are for kids, for teens, and for adults. And you can get a backpack which has books as well as sometimes cards or other comfort objects like maybe a stress ball or a pillow or a monster that will eat your worries, a worry monster. And so these kits have all kinds of fun things to help you with your mental health. So mental health kits are also something that you can check out from your library. And if you love something like crafting or you love watching movies, you can also check out the online calendar. And let's see, where is that? Let me go back to the homepage. And you can look under our events, and that will show you all the programs that we have in all our libraries. So as you can see, we have tech help, we have board games, we have Wild Wednesdays in Marina where they have crafting programs and all kinds of things. We've got movies. So you can check out the online calendar for the library to see if there's any programs that would interest you and help you connect with other people. And definitely connect with your local library. And all of this is available for free at your local library. Monterey County Free Libraries has 17 branches throughout the county. And so there's probably a library close by you that you can go to, and library cards are free. And if you don't have a library card, you can get it by going to How Do I and click on Get a Library Card, and you can apply online. And like I said, library cards are free, so it's free for anybody in the county. Anybody who lives in California, in fact. I just want to echo what Kelley said, that every day is a new day. And so you can start your New Year's resolutions or changes any day of the week or any time of the year. And the library is always a good place to start for any new information that you want and resources. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you so much for sharing these really great resources. I think sometimes, we tend to forget that the libraries really do offer a lot. And so for people who haven't maybe visited a library before and, can sometimes be overwhelmed by everything it has to offer, what would you suggest is an easy way to get started? If they seem to be overwhelmed, they walk into the library, where should I go? What would you recommend as the first step?
I would recommend talking to your friendly librarian, because we are always happy to help, and we love interacting with our customers, our patrons, and telling them all about resources. And it's a very helpful group of people. We're there to help. So start by asking your librarian.
Awesome.
And I also wanted to just point out the locations page, and you can see all the locations throughout the county. All these little blue tags are where we have libraries, and their locations are all listed here in alphabetical order. So as you can see, we're located all throughout the county. So wherever you live in Monterey County, there's probably a library close by.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then it also has library hours, which can be really helpful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I guess I wanted to know if there's a resource or a specific, whether it's like an activity or service that's the most popular that you've noticed people tend to gravitate to.
I think it's kind of generational, but we just got our outdoor adventure kits last year, and they have been super popular. They've been so popular that we asked for another grant, and we got more, and we got money through the Pacific Library Partnership, which is the local library consortium. They gave us more money to buy more outdoor adventure kits because we were just amazed at how popular these little kits are. Bird watching is super popular, stargazing is popular, soccer balls are super popular. So those are super popular. And then we find among a certain generation that our book club to go kits are super popular. They are actively being checked out all the time. There are book clubs throughout the county, and people take advantage of our book club to go programs for that. And then of course, our downloadable media, Libby and Palace Project. Our circulation since the pandemic has gone through the roof. So those are all very popular services.
Yeah, that's great. And also a great way for people to, if they want to start a new hobby, read more books. And like you mentioned, audiobooks is a great option as well. There's a lot of resources the library has to offer. So this is a great reminder to everyone what the library has to offer. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week, and we'll see you then.